All right, let's run through this before the battery dies.
Just go ahead and start with the intro. Can we get to work now?
Yes.
Welcome back to Hooked on Football, your go-to podcast for everything NFL. Whether you're a lifelong fan or just getting into the game, we're here to break down the action on and off the field. Each week, we'll dive into the latest news from around the league, including game recaps, picks and predictions, analysis and insights. From injury reports to power rankings and everything in between, we'll keep you connected to all things NFL. In order to keep up with us, please like, share, subscribe, and follow, because once you're hooked on football, there's no looking back. Let's get to the big news of the day.
The biggest news of the day, maybe.
Russell
Tom
Wilson.
Brady is 5% owner of the
Yes, let's
Oakland,
go. We've been
Las
waiting
Vegas
for it.
Raiders.
I believe you made fun of me for that.
I did last week, yeah. So, really, the biggest thing that means is playing career is done. Officially.
Does it?
He can't come back now. He's an owner. He can't come back now. So
Finally
Tom
put that
Brady,
to rest.
finally, he's not coming back. Quit talking about it.
Yep.
He's not going to come save Miami.
I really thought that was going to be the big news of the day, to be honest, but it's actually Brett Favre's coming back.
But no, it seems that his first order of business was to get even worse, which brings us to probably actually the biggest news, the Davante Adams to New York Jets trade.
Yeah, who saw it coming?
Everybody.
Oh, yeah.
We all saw it.
Sure.
He went to the Jets for a conditional third.
Yep.
It'll become a second-round pick if he's all-pro, first or second team, or is on the roster for AFC Championship or Super Bowl. Also, the Jets are taking on his contract. So when I saw conditional third round, I was like, huh? But then once I realized that Las Vegas got out of that contract, made a lot more sense.
Yeah. They do still take on a dead cap hit of $13.67 million this year and $15.7 next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, which for any of you who don't understand dead cap, basically self-explanatory. Just cap space you're not allowed to use for that year. But as far as actually writing check to Davante Adams, the Jets will be paying.
So I guess really makes no difference. That's money you can't.
It's kind of weird how it works, but.
But no, that's big. Obviously, I'm excited. It's going to be fun watching those dudes because, we'll probably get into it a little more later, but last night made me see that Rodgers still got it. Even if that ended on a pick, I don't think that was on him. I think that was a lot more Mike Williams than him. So I'm stoked, especially when he's got that chemistry with Lazard and Davante. I think they'll pick right back up where they left off.
Yeah.
So
Next thing you know, Donald Driver is going to sign him.
I know he's going to get Donald Driver, James Jones. He's going to bring them all back.
Let's go.
So it's going to be cool.
When it boils down to it, you think it makes the Jets a playoff team if they weren't before? Sitting at 2-4 right now.
Yes, for a couple reasons. I think that confidence goes a long way. So I think just that confidence boost going to help. Davante obviously going to help. That's going to improve that offense a ton, having a good go-to guy that's always going to be a good go-to guy, because like Lazard was dope yesterday, but isn't always. So Davante is always. But then also AFC is not strong. Like that game, had they won, they would have been first in their division at 3-3. So they're 2 games back on Buffalo. So that, not the best spot you want to be in, but it's early. They beat Buffalo next time around. That brings it back. If they get a little help, they still win that division. And even if they don't, I think if they get above 500, if they're at 9-8, I think they'll get a wild card with that in the AFC. So
yeah,
I think that definitely kind of seals that they should be that they'll be a playoff team. I don't see them missing now.
Yeah.
I don't think it makes them a contender at this point. They've got a lot of work to do.
Their offensive line is still terrible.
I don't get, because they've got good pieces. They're a mess. the second most penalized team in the league for the most penalty yards, and like, you got to clean that up. I don't know. I don't get why. Again, I think we'll get into it a little more, but yeah, last night was, I think, a lot to do with the reffing. It was a bit overzealous.
That was terrible.
It was, yeah, they were.
It makes it unbearable to watch. Yeah. And Rodgers even said some of the calls that he benefited from, that roughing the passer call.
He was laughing after that. He's like, "Are you kidding?"
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you'll take it, but also, and I guess by the letter of the law, his weight was all on him. So sure, but no, I was very confused. I saw the sack. I was doing something else, and I looked back. I'm like, how do they have the ball still? How is it 1st and 10? So I wound a little bit, and I was like, didn't see that coming. And then I saw the close up on Rodgers afterwards, kind of laughing like that was silly, but
yeah. Yeah, right now they're sitting behind the Bills, like we talked about in their division. Chiefs, Texans, and Ravens ahead of them. Steelers, I think they'll come back down to earth. So that's a spot that Jets could take over. As far as a wild card goes, they're behind the Chargers, Colts, Broncos, Dolphins. Nobody really that impressive. Mm-hmm. Dolphins, we'll see what they're like when Tua comes back.
Yeah, which I didn't realize was news that he plans to return.
Yeah.
I kept seeing that today. I'm like, I thought we knew that.
Yeah, I saw that. So somebody said it was official that he's going to try to come back on, which I thought it was already. Then another possible playoff contender is the Bengals. It's the only other team behind them, I think, has a chance to maybe do something. But yeah, the Jets definitely should be a playoff team. I agree. I don't believe they're a contender
for the Super Bowl
right now. I don't see that pick conveying into a second. There's just so many good wide receivers in the NFL. Davante's missed a couple games. So
yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that. He with missing games, I don't think he's getting an All-Pro unless I mean, him and Rodgers might go off.
Yeah, I guess he didn't put up the stats last year, but he played a full season last year for the Raiders.
Yeah,
because he wasn't All-Pro last year either.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of Mike Williams being at fault for the last interception, did you see that the Jets are already rumored to look to move him?
Oh, I'm surprised we didn't see that he was cut. He's been booty cheeks all year so far.
He's been pretty terrible.
Yeah, I guess next we'll stay on that trend. Next big news: Amari Cooper, who I forgot existed.
Yeah,
easy
to do, and he plays for Cleveland.
Yeah, to the Bills, him and a 6th for a 3rd, and then a 2026 7th. So that will help. We'll give him his flowers. He had that when he was writing his notes as someone that the Bills should target since Davante was gone. So we talked about that last week, that Davante going to the Bills would be huge and would take them to the next level. But I don't think Amari does the same, but Amari's definitely going to be some help.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely didn't have a clear wide receiver one.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper, at his best, can be that.
Yeah.
Easily the best receiver on their team right now. Yeah, like you said, I was writing down notes about the Davante trade, and I wrote that the Bills need to look to make a move, and the first name I had on there was Amari Cooper. 10 minutes later, trade was done. I was a little shocked to hear this, that Amari Cooper's tied for most drops in the league this season so far. Ooh. And according to ESPN Analytics, he's rated the worst receiver in the NFL so far this year, which Deshaun Watson obviously doesn't help.
So, but, I mean, drops are drops. That's not on the quarterback.
No,
a drop that's taken off
as far
the
as being
quarterback.
the worst receiver.
Right. So, I think that takes us back to our other question about the Jets being in the playoffs. I think yes, because I think now with that news, Amari's going to just make the Bills worse, and the Jets will easily take that division.
Fair.
I'll let you take the next.
News. My next news piece was the Jets have granted Hassan Reddick permission to seek a trade, which is wild that they gave up a 3rd-round pick for him. Mm-hmm. Weren't prepared to give him a contract. Just, I don't know, kind of seems like a bad organizational move.
Yeah.
To not know that a guy is only looking to play for a team that's going to give him a new deal.
Yeah.
So
they offered, but only 1 year.
Yeah.
Which I don't remember. Was he like hurt or something last year? Was he coming off?
No, actually, last 4 seasons he's averaged just over 12.5 sacks.
Oh,
a
so
year.
he's been really good every year leading up.
Yeah.
Why are you doing it? That's okay. Yeah, no, that's really dumb on the Jets. So, like, lock a dude up like that up for a few seasons.
Right.
I feel like that's an easy move to make.
Yeah.
Give him 2-3 year deal.
Yeah, especially a guy that's putting up the stats. I mean,
especially
pass rusher putting up sack numbers,
and he's gonna keep putting up those numbers because you have a great offensive line.
Yeah.
Or defensive line. Sorry.
I know what you meant. He was traded back in March for a conditional third, which could have become a second if he played at least 67.5% of their snaps and had at least 10 sacks. I don't know how that works if he gets traded, but I'm just going to assume that the Jets gave up a third. What do you think it might take to get him for a team that's looking for pass rush help?
I guess I think about that. I know a team looking for pass rush help.
Yeah.
For some reason that didn't click.
I know that. I'm assuming you're talking about the Lions.
Yeah. Which is where I thought your next news was going to go.
No, see, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have made it very clear that they target not just a player's ability on the field, but a culture fit, and a guy that's holding out, not helping his team, even if it was a miscommunication error.
I can see.
I don't see them making that move, but
Dan not taking that. Yeah, I see it. I guess I see that. He probably won't end up there.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that they look into Josh Hines Allen from the Jaguars. That would be probably. I mean, besides Max Crosby, Myles Garrett for 2 first-round picks, which I don't believe for a second that Brad Holmes is going to give up that.
No,
because he's built the Lions up through the draft.
I feel like. So when you say that, you mean 2 first-rounders for one of them?
Correct.
Okay, and that would be the asking price.
That's the rumors I've been seeing the last few days is that the Lions should offer that. I don't know if it's
that's a ton.
I don't think there's been any legit discussions between the Raiders or the Browns with other teams.
I just saw that those talks on the internet were heating up, so I was wondering.
Those are just premier guys, both fairly young. So
yeah. Which I guess that all leads us to what I thought you were going to say, which I guess I can take just to save you from having to talk about it more. Aiden Hutchinson, obviously, went down in the third quarter of that game against Dallas, wrapped his tibia and fibula around teammate's leg. Had surgery while he was down there in Irving, Texas, at Baylor White Medical Center. He had that Sunday night, so and they placed him on IR today, obviously. Mm. So, yeah, that hurts. I do think, though, that it's not going to hurt as bad as most Lions fans feel like it's going to. Being not emotionally attached, like, obviously, dude's great. Always has pressures, isn't always productive on the stat sheet. It comes in waves where he'll have 6 sacks and then no sacks for 10 games and then 6 sacks, and then all 12 of his sacks that year came from 2 games. So
4.5 in the game this year.
Yeah, so he does that, and obviously he helps in other ways, but that defense all around is great. I'm honestly, when you would think that Detroit would have given up the most points towards the end of the game, once Hutchinson went out, they gave up less points than they did with him in.
What, 6-3?
Yeah, but still, like, end of game, and I mean that's probably just play calling, which good on Detroit for not getting into that stupid prevent where you're giving up so much garbage time stuff.
Yeah,
but usually when you're seeing a team blown out like that, you see them score, 14 points in the fourth quarter because no one cares anymore. And they didn't do anything the whole game. They were still getting turnovers. They were still getting pressure. That defense still looked really good. And I think something about the culture there, they're going to rally.
Next man up.
The next man up, they're going to rally every game. They're going to be like, this is for Hutch. And I think that's going to I think that's going to go as far as having Hutch on the field.
Yeah.
So
I hope you're right.
I'm not concerned for them.
I do think they need to make a move. I don't think it, like I said before, I don't think it needs to be one of the top tier elite guys. I don't think you need to mortgage your future to get someone. I wouldn't mind making a smaller move. Like you said, kind of next man up. The unfortunate thing is that Marcus Davenport's also out for the season, so both your starting defensive ends from the beginning of the season out for the year.
Yeah, that part's a bummer.
That's rough.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they got the culture there for sure to hopefully have other guys step up. Hutchinson was leading the league, which includes a bye week and missing half of week 6. He still leads the league in sacks, 7.5. PFF overall grade for pass rushers, pass rush win rate, and pass rush grade, pass rush wins, and second in pressures in the league. So obviously you can't replace him with one guy. But
no, and like I said, he's obviously consistently bringing a lot of pressure, and I think that this has definitely been his best season so far. Because there's a lot of, even you last year, there was a lot of times where it's like, where is this dude?
Yeah.
Yep. No, we'll see. That offense, though, if they stay humming like they were, it doesn't matter what the defense does.
Yeah.
You can give up 30 points and still win most games. So that I think they're going to be fine. But then there's Goff. Who knows how long he can stay hot, because he doesn't do that for long. Usually goes in like 6-8 week windows where he's real good, and his hot streak's a little too early in the season. So next news, just for me, Romeo Doubs made quite the return, and from the sounds of it, obviously wasn't an ideal situation, but wasn't him being a diva or anything stupid like that. And the way the whole team responded to him when he came back, like that first touchdown he scored, the whole team came and hugged him and seemed real heartfelt. It sounded like it was a lot of like mental health stuff going on. And
gotcha.
So
didn't know about all that.
Pretty excited for Dobbs to come back, and then that first game back to have such a good game. I think that's going to go a long way for him.
Yeah. We mentioned last week that Drake May was going to make his first start. I don't know how much you saw of the game, but I thought he looked pretty good.
I don't know if he said it weird or I heard it weird. He said Drake May. The way it came out, at least in my ears, I had no idea what he said. So
yeah, Drake May, Patriots rookie quarterback. I thought he looked pretty good. Looked pretty elusive. Made some plays with his legs, including a 4th down conversion, one on the ground and one through the air. Made some good decisions. Missed some throws, which to be understood as a rookie. Everybody talks about the speed of the NFL being something you have to adjust to. Arguably playing behind the worst offensive line. Had some drops from fellow rookie Jalen Polk. He's really struggling. Then also his first touchdown was to another rookie, Keyshawn Butte.
Which that was a beautiful throw. That was nice.
That was nice. So if I'm a Patriots fan, I'm feeling pretty good about that, although they were feeling pretty good about Mac Jones after season 2.
That is true. That's true.
So
I don't want to jump the gun.
Right. Yeah. And then we also talked last week about the next coach being fired. It's not looking too good for Doug Peterson. In Jacksonville.
I got it right there. Fire Peterson.
If they lose their second game in London, he might have to find his own way back to the States, because I don't see how they can bring him.
I forgot. Who did they just lose to? It wasn't even good.
They played the Sunday morning game against the Bears. Yeah, Bears.
Which they've
been decent, but the
Jaguars
did not look good.
No, that was bad. Hey, Mark.
Dogs.
Fire Peterson, maybe Sirianni.
Yeah, he's definitely on his way out. I forget who it was. I heard someone talking about how whenever you see someone shave their head, that's not a sign of mental stability or
Brittany.
Yeah. So he's on his, and then yelling at the fans. I don't know if it was the opposing team's fans or if he was.
I think from what I gather, I think it was Philly fans were yelling before the game to fire him. And then they barely eked out a win against the Cleveland Browns.
Weren't close to covering the spread.
No.
Not that teams care about that, but
and then he's gonna talk crap about having his team back to full health, and then talking crap about barely beating Cleveland. I thought Cleveland was gonna win most of that game, so dude's got to get lost. Some people were acting excited that he was like that. On some other shows, they're acting excited about that, and like
that he was getting all riled up.
Yeah, he was getting riled up, and he shaved his head.
Showing passion.
Back to the old Nick Sirianni. No,
he said something about that. How his team was telling him to get back to being himself, being the passionate guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't like it in that situation. Other times, there's definitely situations where I'm like, heck yeah, I like that.
And I wouldn't even, if he was talking to the other team's fans that were getting on him, okay. If he was yelling at his own fans.
Yeah. And again, either way in that situation, you sucked all year. You sucked today because you barely beat maybe the worst team.
With the worst receiver
that we've seen in a long time. With the worst receiver and the worst quarterback. So yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Other news. I guess really the only other thing I got. Looks like Russell Wilson might start finally.
Yeah. Said he got first team reps.
Yeah. So I'm excited for Steelers to suck again.
Yeah. Do you feel like that change was necessary? Because Justin Fields not a world beater, but I feel like
he's doing fine.
3-2, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not sure I feel that one. I mean, obviously, if they promised him when they signed him this offseason that they were going to give him a chance, then that is what it is.
I don't know. Maybe we'll get old Russ, but I'm not buying it.
Yeah, well, going up against the Jets, who are going to be highly motivated, obviously. Coaching change, bringing in Davante.
Yeah.
I thought they looked much improved this week, so only going to get better with Davante and with another week of no Hackett calling the plays, new coach.
Yeah. No, they definitely looked a bit rejuvenated. Obviously didn't go the way, but I feel like there was one other thing that I was going to say, but don't remember. It was something that came to me last second, but it's gone now. So
now it is time to dive into the Hooked Heirarchy, the part of the pod where we unveil our top 10 NFL squads, ranking teams based on performances, stats, and maybe a little bias. Who's rising to the top and who's slipping down the ranks. Get ready for some heated debates and some surprising picks as we break down the best of the best.
So, starting off mine at number 10. Same teams on my list as last week, but a little different order. So I got Atlanta Falcons at 10. They stay good. They won. It was Carolina, so like not a huge win, but Algier over 100 yards. Yeah. Bijan had 95, close. So they got, and then Drake London, and then Pitts occasionally. They've got a lot of guys that can produce and help them score. So I like how versatile, I guess, they can be. So I still like them at 10. Cousins was fine, but he's not going to throw for 500 every week. So yeah, I got Falcons at 10.
Yeah, same. Falcons at 10. I believe I moved them down a spot because of one of the teams that I moved into the top 10. But yeah, run game looked good. Almost 200-yard rushers. It's definitely a recipe for success.
Yeah.
I don't see Algier doing that every week, obviously.
No, but he's obviously got it in him.
Yeah, but Kyle Pitts, last 2 weeks, looked a lot better.
If he can actually stay being that guy that we thought he was.
Yeah. I mean, everybody talks about the talent, the potential, which eventually potential becomes a bad word. But
you're right.
I thought he looked pretty good. Moving on to number 9, I had the Bills. Big in-division win against the Jets. I originally wrote that they still need a wide receiver 1, but now they got Amari Cooper.
So they still need a wide receiver 1?
So, yeah, not too much to say about the Bills.
My number 9, I got Tampa. Obviously, a very convincing win over New Orleans, but could clean it up a little bit. Baker having the 3 picks. Defense, don't know what happened in that second quarter, but I'm going to chalk that up to a weird anomaly because giving up 27 points in a quarter is weird.
Yeah.
And then they give up 0 in all other quarters. So weird anomaly. Not going to hold it against them too much. But
just took their foot off the pedal.
It makes it feel a little bit dirty, and the 3 picks make it feel a little bit dirty. That's why I couldn't move them up more than I did. So Bucks at 9. Number 8, I got the Commanders. Jaden Daniels still very good, but Baltimore's just so good right now.
Yeah.
So that, like I said last week, I thought that was going to be a real wake up or coming back down to earth kind of game for the Commanders.
Yep. Number 8, I had the Buccaneers. I think their offense just looks explosive. Couple young running backs making plays.
Yeah.
Obviously Evans, Godwin, and Godwin had a game.
Godwin looked good.
Of course, I benched him in fantasy, but I was still won, so that's all right.
It's a rough week of fantasy for me. Forgot about the morning game and.
Yeah, those morning games.
Yeah, I didn't get stuff set because for whatever reason the waiver didn't clear till Friday night, and then it was I don't even remember. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, Buccaneers at number 8. Number 7 had the Commanders, so we're pretty close so far. They lost to the Ravens, like we said. I had them covering the spread, which they did not, but looked pretty good. And I thought Jaden Daniels, kept on playing well. Terry McLaurin's playing really well for them.
Turning the ball over, he's playing safe. Obviously, not quite going to be able to win every game for him, but I like how he looks. My number 7, Buffalo Bills. So our bottom 4 are all the same. Josh Allen was really good.
He's all right.
Sometimes forget. I think sometimes he forgets too, but they're a little bit too sloppy for me to move them up. And granted, like we talked about, I think a lot of it was roughing because the penalties in that game were ridiculous, and that was really uncharacteristic for them. So I'm not super concerned about that because all year they've had 35 penalties. 11 of them were in that game. So that's pretty heavily weighted. Like they're not doing bad penalty wise. So I'm not gonna hold that too much against them. Jets also had 11 in that game. And then adding Amari, hopefully he's not what the stats say, and
that has to be misleading.
It's got to be.
He's always been one of the more underrated receivers in the NFL, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he is getting older, but
he's also played for teams that no one likes.
Yeah, for sure.
And then at number 6, I got the Packers. I wanted to move them up more, but teams are good right now. The top teams are good. Like I said, they're only getting better. It was just Arizona who's been looking rough a little bit. So because of who they beat, I didn't move them up too much. But Dobbs is looking good. Jordan Love is looking like Jordan Love. He had that one pick that can't really blame him. That ball was being thrown when I forget who. Was it Wicks? I don't remember who was running that route. It might have been Melton. Slipped in at the top of the route, so just obviously wasn't there to catch the ball. So it wasn't really like a decision making or an errant throw. It's just a crapshoot. Stuff happens. So they played really safe. They were clean most of the game. I like where they're headed, and that defense is looking good.
Yeah, real good. Yeah, I also had the Packers at number 6. Jordan Love's just one of those quarterbacks. See him make plays, and you go, I don't know how many other guys can make those throws. His off-platform throws, his arm strength. Obviously, they have tons of weapons.
MVP, honestly, this season. I'm
definite contender.
He's second in touchdown passes, and he's missed 2 games, and we're 6 games in. So that's
it's wild.
A third of the games, and he's second. Like at this rate, it's going to be a runaway for MVP, I think.
Yeah, I would definitely say he's in the running. I believe he's top 10 in odds currently. By the way, why doesn't MVP just get renamed quarterback of the year? It never goes to anybody besides a quarterback, which makes sense because quarterback, obviously, most important position in the league. But
sometimes, hashtag 2023, you could have picked anybody else because Lamar definitely was not it.
Yeah, well, of course, he's top 5 in odds again this year.
And I feel like this year he is playing.
Yeah.
Which I get to.
Which this year, Mahomes is number 1 in odds. That doesn't make any sense.
He's not. He's worse than Daniel Jones. But, yeah, so who you got at 5?
Number 5, I have the Houston Texans. Thought Mixon looked really good in his return.
Sure.
Didn't seem to miss Nico Collins too much. Diggs and Dell both performed pretty well.
It's almost like there was 2 really smart guys I saw on the internet that didn't think that they would miss him too much.
Yeah. Some people thought that they had the best wide receiver 2 and 3 in the league and would be just fine.
Some people were saying that. See last week's episode.
Yeah, obviously they played the Patriots this week, rookie quarterback, so not much of a test, but kept him right where I had him.
I too had Houston at number 5. Still, they're good all around. I said Stroud's still good. Still have hella weapons. There's not a whole lot new to take away from this week other than Mixon is back. It looked like he's going to pick up right where he left off. So they will be on our list probably all season.
Yeah.
Number 4, I've got Baltimore. Derek, still Derek. And Lamar looks kind of like he did in his first MVP season. Not last year's MVP season. That was stupid.
The real one.
The real one where he was actually should have been in contention for MVP. I still had my reservations that year, but he was good enough to be considered. And he's looking like that again this year. So I've got Baltimore at 4.
Same. We're supposed to have some heated debates here, but really we're just giving you the same rankings.
You're going to put Baltimore at 4?
I know. Beat a very good Commanders team, what I believe to be a very good Commanders team. Not much to say about them. They just keep chugging along. But at number 3, I had we'll see if we differ here. I wouldn't think you dropped the Lions out of your top 10 for the Hutch injury, but I got
them at 12.
Oh, okay. I got the Lions at number 3. Arguably the best offense in the league. Ben Johnson just is in his bag right now. Some of that was obviously getting revenge against the Cowboys for last year, but also people have been talking all of the internet about how disrespectful it was, but I don't think they're saying it in a way like the Lions shouldn't have been doing that. They're saying, yes, you're an NFL team, but we know we're better than you.
I texted you during that game and said, Ben Johnson's a sassy bitch, and I love it.
Yeah.
Because the play calling and then just his faces and the way he was on the sideline.
Yep.
I'm a Ben Johnson fan.
The hook and ladder play to Penei Sewell and the pass to Decker in the end zone. I wish one of them would have gone for a touchdown, but they still felt so good to watch. And the defense played a lot better, I thought, this week. I don't think they had any DPI penalties on Arnold. Carlton Davis actually took a cleat to the face.
And Arnold even made some good plays.
Yeah. There was a couple, bang plays. I thought they might throw a flag just because he was starting to build a reputation that way. But I thought he looked a lot better. And
that's how a game should be called, not like the freaking Buffalo Jets game.
Let them play, especially because that's how they're going to call it in the playoffs. I don't know why they choose to do it differently, but big matchup against the Vikings this week. We will be there.
Yes, we will.
In Minnesota. 5-0.
Stay tuned for that. We're going to take you with on that adventure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. 5-0 versus 4-1, playing for first place in the division. One stat I read today, Jared Goff joined Drew Brees as the only 2 quarterbacks in all of NFL history to produce a quarterback rating of over 150 in consecutive games with 15 attempts minimum.
I did see he did that, and
it's impressive. I still, anybody who's talked to me knows that I'm not Goff slappy.
No.
I think he's good enough with the pieces that they have around him to be Super Bowl contender. I don't think he'll ever be the reason that they
I was just arguing with my
win
mom
big
about
games.
Goff.
But yeah, if you can keep playing like this, they
Yeah.
legit contenders. So.
Yeah. I also have Detroit at 3. I mean, they looked incredible on Sunday. It was fun but annoying. Only reason I didn't put them at I wanted to jump them over our top 2, who I think we both left there by default.
I did see some people's power rankings; they had them number 1.
I did too, and I think I would have if Hutch didn't go down. Like I said, in that game, didn't seem to affect him. That defense stayed good, maybe even better at the end of the game, which, as I said, is backwards. But I want to see how they adjust and what they do going forward before I move them up. And then also, I think we know where this is going. The other 2 teams didn't do anything to get knocked out of the top 2. So, no, I like that. Ben Johnson, I mean, he is. Goff has been extremely fortunate in his career. He had Sean McVay.
Yeah, no kidding.
Brilliant offensive mind. And then now Ben Johnson, who, I mean, at this rate, is going to be one of the best offensive minds like ever. He's young. He could very well be like the next kind of Shanahan guy, or he gets a head coach spot, and then he has all these other proteges, his Matt LaFleur's, his Sean McVay's. And, dude, I mean, the stuff he's doing with Goff. I mean, the rest of the offense is great. Like, they have Jameson looks like what we wanted Jameson to look like this last week. Obviously, Amon-Ra. Laporta is starting to look like Laporta did last year. David Montgomery signs a big check and then looks like he's trying to sign another big check already. I'm like, bro, you got 2 years, chill. Fucking relax for a minute. So, but no, I mean, they look really good, and it's really annoying, and they're really likable, and it's really annoying. Luckily, I still just don't like Goff, so I get to hold on to that. I think that he's definitely their weak link. He does this all the time. He did this in LA. He's done it all his years in Detroit. He has his hot streaks, and he has his very regular streaks. Being a Packers fan, I'm glad he hit his hot streak right now, not at the end of the season, because his track record, I don't think he's going to hold it. I don't think he can hold it from now into the postseason. I think he very well could lose it and get it back, because he does that too, and might have it at the right time. But I think that their postseason success is going to depend heavily on Goff being this Goff at the right time.
Yeah, it's not very often that a team can contend with the average quarterback.
No.
Broncos did it with Peyton Manning, but that's an all-time great defense.
Yeah,
which I don't believe the Lions' defense is that. I don't think anybody does, but
no, I don't think they're quite there. I mean, honestly, Dallas is supposed to be good.
Yeah,
obviously they've been in a rough spot, but like seeing them this last week, they look like they're not far off from that. But no, they're good. They're going to make it tough for Green Bay to win the North. And
that division in general
only
is just so tough.
Behind a game. I just don't see how. I mean, obviously, if Green Bay can beat Detroit both times, then sure.
Right.
But I don't see, even being back a game, I don't see how you catch up in this. But that takes us to number 2, which I still got. The Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, like I said last week, Patrick sucks, but that defense is good, and somehow they're figuring out how to win.
Yeah. Not much to say about 2 teams that run a bye. Still have Vikings number 2, Chiefs at number 1. In my head, I kind of believe that the Lions are better than the Chiefs, just watching them so far this year. But their defense is underrated, in my opinion.
The Chiefs?
They haven't, they haven't lost.
Well, looking at
defending champs, so.
what Patrick is doing, obviously the defense is doing some incredible things. And then I got Minnesota still at 1, which I can say with confidence we're going to see that start to come way down. I don't think that Donald is what we've seen this year. I think this bye cooled him off, and I mean, yes, it was a whole nother team, whole nother year, but we saw it in 2016. They went 5-0, had their bye week 6, and then missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I see a repeat coming.
We can hope.
Because they shouldn't be good.
Not this good.
No.
That's for sure. A couple of teams neither of us had in our top 10. Thought to mention the Bears looking pretty good.
Yeah.
They're on the fringe of the top 10 in my opinion. 49ers still have a ton of talent.
Yeah.
Eagles, not that impressive this week, but just got their 2 receivers back. So
they've got the potential to be on the fringe. I don't have them there. I like the Chargers better. There's a lot of teams I like better than them right now.
Now let's go to Pigskin Prophecies, the segment where we unveil our picks for this week's NFL clashes, break down key matchups, analyze the stats, and make our bold predictions. Who will rise to the occasion and who will fall short? Let's start off by doing a short review of our picks from last week.
We did pretty good.
Yeah,
I let my biases deceive me a couple times, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with our performance last week.
Both did good. Brett came out with a 9-4-1 record. I was 11-1-2. If you're wondering where the tie comes from, we pick against the spread. There was both of us picked Philly to cover the spread. They won straight up but didn't cover the spread, so we count that as a tie. I also had Washington covering the spread, but Baltimore winning outright, so that's where the ties come in. Brett, you had Seattle beating San Francisco.
Didn't happen.
Jacksonville beating Chicago.
Didn't happen.
Clearly that was a biased pick.
Yeah.
We both had Denver.
Winning.
Both deceived.
Didn't happen.
By their victories against some kind of weak teams.
Yeah. I really thought the Jets were going to pull it out, but...
Yeah, and then the Jets...
that one was a little bit biased, but also... if you watch that game...
It was close.
If you watch that game, that was right there. That was just a couple things. They should have had it, but whatever.
Make those field goals.
Greg the Leg...
2 off the upright. That's almost impressive.
He's the worst. He's worse than Narpson. He is. He's kicking like 66%. Narpson's at like 70.
Not good.
They're worst and second worst in the league.
I saw today that the Packers worked out Brandon McManus. I wonder if the Jets might also do the same.
I'll take it. Honestly, get Carlson back. He was better than this. Get Mason Crosby back. He could still be better than this. Janikowski played till he was 65, so Crosby's got years left.
He was kicking from 65.
He was, 65, so. But yeah, so let's I guess get into this week's lineups. We got Thursday night. We got Broncos and Saints. Woo! What's the spread?
3-3 Broncos at the 2-4 Saints. Denver is favored by 2 in that one.
Okay.
Saints rookie quarterback playing. Broncos, no Patrick Surtain, but Sean Payton's return to New Orleans. I definitely see it as a lower scoring game.
Yeah.
Saints have a bad defense, but the Broncos have a not good offense. So, not feeling too good about the pick, but I do have Denver covering the spread. -2.
So I didn't look at any of the spread on any of this because I was trying to whip it up quick, so I'm kind of curious to see where my picks line up with what the odds say. But I also have Broncos winning, and I'll say they're going to cover that spread.
Yeah, it's pretty small spread.
Easy.
If you win, you might as well pick over the spread on that one. One thing before we get too far into it, I wanted to mention that the Bears and the Cowboys are on a bye week. Bears have a couple injuries that they're dealing with. Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon. They play at the Commanders in Week 8, so it's going to be one of their tougher tests of the early season. Honestly, tests for both. We'll see.
Yeah.
See a little bit of.
We'll get to see
number 1 versus number 2.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that right away. That's gonna be fun to watch.
And then the Cowboys, that kind of bad time for them
cares?
in one aspect where they have to stew on that.
That's
47
true.
to 9
I like it.
beating.
I like it.
But also they have a ton of injuries. Parsons, high ankle sprain.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Kendricks. Deron Bland coming back from the IR. Brandon Cooks is on IR for an infection in his knee. So give them a little time to heal up. But moving on to the Sunday morning game. Got the 1-5 Patriots facing off at the Jaguars. Another game in London. By the way, back-to-back games in London for Jacksonville. I don't know what the schedule makers are doing.
There's some scheduling things.
If you're going to have 2 games in London, have them back-to-back.
We'll keep touching on these stupid scheduling things in this. There's a few of them.
Jacksonville favored by 5.5.
Oh, no, I'm taking the Pats.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
I almost went with the Pats after watching Drake May this week. I thought he looked pretty good. I just feel like Jacksonville's so desperate that they're going to...
They're desperate, but Peterson can't coach, so doesn't matter.
Correct.
It's like me being desperate. I ain't doing anything.
Yeah. I had Jacksonville covering the spread. Don't feel great about it, but moving on to the 1 o'clock games on Sunday of the 4-1 Lions at the 5-0 Packers. Like we mentioned, we will be there.
I wish the Packers were 5-0. You said the 5-0 Packers.
Yes, correct. Vikings. Sorry.
5-0 Vikings. Yeah, I took the Lions.
Me also. Minnesota's favored by 2.5. I think Detroit covers. I think Detroit wins outright.
Yeah, I think that them coming off of that win, can't even call it a win, whatever you call it.
Bloodbath. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also, like I said earlier, they're going to be playing for Hutch, so I don't see them losing. And as I said, Vikings are about to lose about 5 straight, so let's get it.
Let's hope. I think the run game is going to be the difference. Lions dominant in the run game on both sides of the ball. We'll see how Hutch's absence maybe changes that. But
Jones is probably coming back, and
yeah,
especially with a little less pressure up front, he might have a day.
Yeah.
I hope so. I love Aaron Jones, and I'm going to be at the game, so I really want to see him. I don't want to see them win, but I want to see Jones have a day.
Moving on to the Texans, 5-1 at this time the Packers, who are sitting at 4-2. Green Bay favored by 2.5 in that one. I'll let you go.
They'll
first.
cover.
Yeah,
I'll cover it.
Okay, you sound real confident.
I am.
I have Houston winning that game outright. I think the Packers have had a little bit of a easy early schedule. I see McKinney having his first game without an interception. Yeah. I think Stroud takes care of the ball.
Easy early schedule.
Yeah, got Houston winning that one. I think it's gonna be a good game. I'm excited to watch that one.
That's another dumb scheduling thing. We knew they were both good last year. Why are they not at a 4 or even a 8 o'clock game?
Yeah, that is weird.
When you see what our
Lions
4
Vikings
and our 8
understandable.
o'clock games.
Nobody thought the Vikings were gonna be this good, but
sure.
Yeah.
But also, the interdivisional stuff, you can't. There's so much of that all season, so you can't put all those at prime time. So that makes a little more sense being a 1 o'clock game. But this AFC, NFC, 2 big good teams in the AFC, NFC, that's at least a 4 o'clock game.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm not saying it's 8 is because one of the other games it's slated this week.
Especially being only 3-4 o'clock games this week. It's weird that one wasn't at least a
adjustment to whatever. What's next?
Next, we have the 3-3 Seahawks facing off against the Atlanta Falcons, who are 4-2. Atlanta's favored by 2.5 in that game.
And I'm taking them. I'm taking them to cover. That's not too much.
Me too. Seahawks have not been impressive to me.
No, and I like Cousins better than I like Geno.
Yep.
And I got the Falcons.
Yep, I didn't have too much to say about that game, but Bengals 2-4 facing off in Cleveland against the Browns, who are both teams are struggling to start the season, but Cincinnati favored by 5.5. I see them easily covering the Browns.
It's the Browns. Also,
Amari Cooper gone.
It's only going to be now that they've lost their worst receiver, they should be even worse.
By the way, I just thought of this. How is Jerry Jeudy on the team, and Amari Cooper leads in drops and is the worst receiver?
I don't know. I did see Jerry Jeudy make a sweet catch, and I was like, That was Judy?
That's what he does. He either makes a sweep
You're
catch
right.
or drops
You're right.
a routine catch.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, I got Bengals on the upward trend the rest of the season. I think they're still definitely a playoff team. I just think they've had some weird struggles early on.
Yeah, especially the teams ahead of them. I think they can catch.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh, putting Russ under center. We all kind of know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
Titans 1-4 at the Bills. Bills are favored by 8.5 points, which is the largest spread of the week. And I have Buffalo covering. I don't see any reason the Titans are going to be competitive in this one.
I think that they're covering. Titans have not been good. I feel like they started off okay, but I feel like Levis does that. He has a good game or two, and then, and they've got some drama with Ridley yapping this week, saying he needs touches early in the game.
I saw some rumors about DeAndre Hopkins potentially being on the trade block also.
He would have been better for Buffalo to target than the worst receiver in the league.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see who would be interested in DeAndre Hopkins. I saw the Broncos floated out there as a rumor, but I don't see them moving assets for a receiver right now, even though their weaponry is pretty terrible.
Right.
Next, we got the Philadelphia Eagles sitting at 3-2, visiting the Giants sitting at 2-4, and the Eagles favored by 3.5.
I'm taking the Giants.
Right.
Yeah. I think they're both bad.
Yeah.
The Giants do stuff occasionally, and I feel like Malik's got to be coming back by now. There's a concussion. I'm hoping he's coming back because I'm in fantasy, and that's been hurting. And then with him back, I think the Giants could probably pull that one out.
Do you have them winning outright then, or just covering the spread?
No, I got them winning outright.
Okay. I have Philadelphia covering the spread. I don't know. Another one I don't feel great about. Giants have a home field advantage and been playing better than I think most people expect them to coming into the season.
Mm-hmm.
But Philly, I don't know. Honestly, I don't.
As long as Philly sticks with Sirianni through this week, I've got the Giants. If they fire Sirianni, I've got Eagles.
I don't think they'll be moving on from him in the middle of the week. But
no.
If they lose this game, I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Which is wild to think. 3 coaches potentially gone after week 7. But
it needs to happen.
Yeah. Next we have the Dolphins sitting at 2-3 at the Colts, who are 3-3. Indianapolis favored by 3 in that one. I have Indianapolis winning that one and covering. Tua still not back yet.
Yeah.
Dolphins just have not looked good.
Rough without him. So
yeah.
I too have that.
Next we have the 1-5 Panthers at the 4-2 Commanders. This is the second largest spread of the week. Washington favored by 7.5.
Yeah.
Panthers are not much to say about them.
Commies are covering.
They're gonna be competitive for the number 1 draft pick again.
Mm-hmm. I think they'll have a little. I think they'll have a good performance coming off a loss, wanting to get back to it. I think they'll cover that.
Yeah. Next we have the 2-4 Raiders at the 1-4 Rams. Might be a good game between two not very good teams.
Rams they're only 1-4.
Yeah.
Oosh.
The Rams are favored by 6.5.
I don't think they're as bad as their 1-4 record says.
I don't either.
I haven't looked. Is Puka's
a ways off.
Okay.
I believe Cooper Kupp, last I heard, was practicing in a limited capacity. Probably going to be a game time decision.
Okay.
I think regardless.
I have Rams.
Yeah, I did too. Raiders traded Davante this week.
They haven't
Don't even know who their starting quarterback is.
Yeah,
correct. Max Crosby pushing coaches on the sideline. I think I saw that he said it was in jest. That could be
It could be
him spinning it in a positive
way. But also seems like the guy that would do that. So
yeah,
I tend to just take them at their word.
Yeah. But I feel like whenever there's drama around teams, that's just reflecting on underlying issues, which the Raiders have a lot of.
Sure.
Yeah, I have the Rams cover and win by at least a touchdown in that one. Next, we have the 5-0 Chiefs at the 3-3 49ers, which I'm not sure how many people had the 49ers sitting at 3-3 in this point of the season. But San Francisco is actually favored in this one by a point and a half.
I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Niners.
Tell me something.
I'm taking the Niners, yeah. I think that I guess I have no idea how Chiefs do coming off buys. I've never looked at that because I hate them.
Usually, well-coached teams do pretty well coming off the buys. Andy Reid's obviously a great coach.
But I think the Niners are going to want this more because, 1, 3-3. We got to start winning. 2, I mean, obviously, the Super Bowl matchup, why is this not the 8 o'clock game? The 8 o'clock game this year is silly. So I think that I think the Niners are going to. I think the Niners are going to squeak this one out, and the only point and a half you said.
Correct.
I think that if you win, you probably cover that spread.
Well, I hope you're right. I have Kansas City winning that one outright. San Francisco hasn't been very impressive to me. Kelsey coming back into form, I think. I wouldn't be surprised if probably not by this week, but I think the Chiefs might sign Marquez Valdes-Scantling. He was released by the Bills today.
Oh, I forgot he went to the Bills.
Yeah, but
might as well bring him back.
He was decent for them.
Yeah,
and obviously Mahomes
he's been decent
can make
forever.
Yeah, plus
decent.
Mahomes makes the best out of everybody else's cast off. So, but yeah, I have Kansas City winning that one. Moving on to Sunday Night Football, we have the 2-4 Jets at the 4-2 Steelers. Get to see the Rodgers to Davante connection.
Oh, and it's going to be sweet. I'm excited.
Going against what sounds like is going to be the Russell Wilson-led Steelers. I have a feeling there'll be some Justin Fields packages still mixed in there. But you know what they say, when you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterback.
Right.
Jets are favored by 1.5 in that one. I have them covering that.
Yeah, they'll cover that
fairly easily. I think they're going to be highly motivated after making those moves. Yep. Next, Monday Night Football, we got a doubleheader.
Watch that while we're...
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes.
We got the 4-2 Ravens at the 4-2 Buccaneers. Should be a good game.
I think
Baltimore favored by 3.5 in that one.
I'm taking the Ravens. Bucs don't have the greatest run defense. They're yards-wise, they're about in the middle of the pack, but they're giving up almost 5 yards a carry. I think that their run defense is skewed on paper because they've been explosive, so teams have been throwing a lot more than they have been running. And I think Henry is going to have a day.
And when you got Henry and Lamar going against a poor rush defense, that's not a recipe for success. I also have the Ravens covering the spread. I see it being a close game. I believe the Buccaneers are a very good team. I just think, like you said, Baltimore's rushing test is going to be too much for them.
Yeah.
And then to finish off the week, we got the 3-2 Chargers at the 2-4 Cardinals. A little bit of a snooze fest, if you ask me. Chargers favored by 2.5 in that one.
And I've got them winning, and I think they'll cover.
I actually picked the Cardinals to
win
this game outright.
Okay.
I think Marvin Harrison has a rebound game. He's been off the last couple weeks.
It could be.
But yeah, not too much to say about that one. Like I said, not too exciting of a matchup, but we'll see how we do on the picks this week.
Thanks for watching again. We'll see you guys next week. Like we said, keep an eye out. We're going to be going to Minneapolis this week. So.
Yep, and we're working on getting our podcast out on a few other platforms. So for anyone that
we'll let you know when that's coming.
Yep.
Hit us up on our socials too. Hooked on Football on Instagram and on Twitter or X here real soon.
Coming soon.
We'll see you next week.